time for dinner. What's up y'all, it's Marcos here. So today I'm going to share with you my journey to OMAD intermittent fasting diet and also whole food plant-based vegetarian diet. And I will also explain the benefits and drawbacks of this diet. So I'm gonna enjoy my dinner first and I'll see you after dinner. So I actually started my OMAD diet before my vegan diet. 3 years ago, I saw the videos from Dr. Berg and Dr. Nun S Amen Ra on YouTube.
Intermittent fasting triggers growth hormone. Growth hormone increases muscle.
He only eats one vegan meal a day.
I think it's quite easy to skip breakfast, and also I hate waking up in the morning very early for school. So I decided to give it a try. First time I tried it was during the Christmas of 2016 when I was having my Christmas holiday. That day I woke up early in the morning, wait till noon, watching the clock whole time, couldn't wait to eat. I was having cravings all through the morning. However, after doing it for 4 days, all the cravings disappeared. I didn't have any cravings anymore and my body was adopted to skipping breakfast. Then my school started, and that morning I woke up 10 minutes later, not needing to prep for my breakfast, and drank a lot of water. My energy level during morning is a little bit better. However, during my afternoon lessons, I still feel sleepy and sluggish. I was not quite focused, and for the mock tests and exams after school, I was sleepy as hell. Then after skipping only breakfast for 3 months, and I've considered how about skipping lunch too. Then I calculated and made sure that I have enough calories to build up a calorie surplus in order to build up muscle. Then I started skipping lunch as well as breakfast and started doing revision and homework during my lunchtime. Then during afternoon lessons and after school mock test, I was not tired anymore. For my gym sessions after school, my lift still increased and I felt better working out with an empty stomach, and also I was more focused. After the gym sessions, I just went home and have a big feast of dinner. And since then, I've been doing it for 2.5 years and I was actually quite satisfied with the results bringing up. So that's the journey of my 1 meal a day OMAD diet. And now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of this diet. So for the first benefit is it suits my lifestyle. I don't have to prep for my breakfast, my lunchbox, and I just have to eat a dinner at nighttime until I completely full, which suits my big appetite. By doing so, I also saved up much time that I needed to prep for my breakfast and lunch. And the second benefit is obviously stable energy level. I was more focused during lessons, afternoon tests, and exams. So that's the journey of my OMAD diet. If you do any kind of fasting, comment down below. Now let's move on to my journey of the plant-based vegetarian diet. It might sound surprising to you that I actually went from an omnivore diet to keto and then to vegetarian and finally to plant-based diet. During the period when I was an omnivore, I ate a lot of chicken, cheese, minced pork, and drank a lot of milk every single day. All my classmates and teachers know that I had that kind of chicken diet. Then, after I adopted to the 16/8 intermittent fasting protocol, one day I saw the video from Dr. Berg about ketogenic diet. I experienced with the ketogenic diet for 2 months with the macros of at least 70% of fat, 25% of protein, less than 50 grams of carbs. I ate a lot of cheese, meat, avocado, butter, and I didn't eat any carbs or drink any milk. After experiencing experiencing for 2 months, I got several pros and cons. The first benefit is I actually lose fat and became the leanest I've ever been. Here's the moment when I was the leanest in my whole life. At that time, I was about 48.5 kilograms and my body fat was lower than 8%. You can see from my lower back and my abs. My face was like a skeleton and lose a lot of puff and water retention in my face. For the second benefit is I actually had no hunger or cravings during my whole day. I got stable energy level throughout the day as well. However, I stopped because of several reasons. I had some kind of drawbacks for this diet. So that brings us for the first drawback, that is the food choices were expensive. Avocado, meat, butter, nuts, those are the foods that for me was kind of expensive. After 2 months, I found that my wallet get flatter and flatter. I didn't have enough money to afford for my food choices. Second drawback is that I couldn't eat my favorite food, which is banana. Carbs could easily make me exceed 50 grams of carbs for my daily limit, so fruits are no-go. And for the third drawback is that during ketosis, I could easily exceed 50 grams of carb limit during the day. Even for natural peanut butter, which is my favorite food, contains a slightly higher carb content compared to other nuts. However, for pecans, walnuts, Brazilian nuts, these are the nuts that are much more expensive than peanuts, so I couldn't afford them. And the fourth drawback is that I couldn't dine out. Most of the food choices in the streets or in the restaurants are accompanied with carb sources such as bread, which is made up of wheat powder, and rice. It was extremely hard for me to find keto choices. If I really needed to do so, I could only order a pound of meat, which would be very expensive for me. For the fifth and final drawback is that I don't have any craving or hunger. That sounds like a pros at first for me, but after a while of adopting to ketosis, I didn't crave for my favorite food, even for banana. At that time, I felt like food was just like a hunger filling object, and it was not for our soul and for our pleasure. I felt like I lose some kind of motivation or meaning of life without the connection with my favorite food. Final thought is that keto might suit some of you, and if you are rich, you might suit to this diet very well. But for me, I could not afford it. And after that, I went back to my omnivore diet for 3 months before I went vegetarian. Then, one day after the gym section, I went back to home for dinner. My mother said that she had forgotten to buy any meat for that day's dinner. At dinner, we didn't eat any meat at night. However, the other day morning, I actually felt light in my body. I know it was because I actually ate at a caloric deficit and that my body felt a little bit lighter and less food in my stomach. At that day, I was wondering whether I could build muscle without consuming meat as my protein sources. I was curious about whether building muscles on vegetarian diet is practical. I did some researches and started testing for myself, adopting to the vegetarian diet for 1 week. Then I felt better, my body was lighter, and I was keep progressing in my compound lifts. However, I ate a lot of dairy and eggs. 2 months after doing this ovo-lacto vegetarian diet, one day during my mathematics lessons, my teacher offered us some ice cream cones. I ate 1 cone and my friend called Gary asked, "Hey Marco, aren't you a vegetarian?" Yeah, I don't eat meat, but dairy it's fine for me. Then eating meat and dairy, what's the differences? From that day on, I reflected on myself, did several researches thinking about whether I could get enough protein from only plant-based sources and get rid of eggs and dairy. I calculated macros and calories on chronometer and made sure that I could hit 1.6 grams of protein per kilograms of body weight and made sure that I could attain the caloric surplus. After 1 week without failing, I continued to have the plant-based diet until now. 2 years since then, I've been eating the same plant-based protein sources, which are peanuts and soya beans, which are quite affordable for me. So that's the journey for me from omnivore to keto to omnivore to vegetarian and to plant-based diet. So now let's move on to pros and cons of this diet. First benefit of going plant-based is that I can stay lean all the time. This is the situation before I have any kind of bloating. It was not because of the low calorie density and high volume of the food that I was consuming, but it was because the choices of junk food for me became almost zero. Pizza, hamburgers, ice creams, cakes, egg waffles, or even bread, since bread in Hong Kong contains butter, milk, or even pig fat for plain white bread. I could not eat these, or these. These are called danta. So the decrease in junk food choices lowered my chance of eating empty calories. And even during Chinese festivals such as Mid-Autumn Festival and visiting relatives called Baini, I ate nothing, went home and cooked for my own dinner. I didn't eat any Chinese mooncakes and Chinese snacks, which are often quite high in calories. And the side reason is that the food is lower in calories and higher in volume. For now, I ate a lot until I was completely full or bloated, just like now. I stayed lean until night, and then I poop a lot to get lean again. Second benefit is that I saved a lot of money. Before I went vegetarian, I went out with my friends a lot to have several social occasions. And for now, I go out to eat with my friends much less often. When they go out for barbecue, hot pot, and buffet, I reject all the invitations. For these kind of social gatherings, each time I would have to spend at least $100. But now I don't go to any of them, so I saved a lot of money unintentionally. But I was introverted, so fewer social occasions for me is actually okay. And besides social gatherings, I also couldn't buy any street food or dine out. So again, I saved a lot of money by not buying those. And for the money that I've saved, I use them to buy beans and seeds. These are much cheaper compared to meat and dairy. For the baked peanuts, I bought them for $15 for 600 grams. Soybeans, that in Chinese is called Wang Dao. I bought them for $8 for yakgan, that means 600 grams. And for flax seeds, it costs 23 Hong Kong dollars for 300 grams. These food choices are quite cheap and affordable. Moving on to the third benefit, that is improved immune health. I used to have allergic rhinitis, or you could call it runny nose, and I sneezed a lot. My teachers and classmates used to see me bring in a whole pile of toilet paper rolls or packets of tissues, making all kinds of dumplings. And after adopting to the vegetarian diet or the vegan diet, I barely sneeze or get cold. Even for winter, when it was 13 degrees Celsius, where all the other people are wearing jackets or thick clothes or long sleeve shirts, I wear tank tops and t-shirts. Those who told me that I was wimpy were then making a lot of dumplings, and I was just there. The improved immune health was probably due to the increased intake of vitamin B complex and vitamin C. But there are also drawbacks of this diet. The first problem is obviously bloating. For plant-based food, it is naturally high in fiber, high in volume, and low in calories. When bulking, I need to eat a lot. I need to eat a lot of beans, rice, nuts, and seeds. Because of the longer time of digestion needed for the food containing dietary fibers and oligosaccharides, I have bloating because of the increased time needed for digestion and the oligosaccharides, which is the indigestible carbohydrates in human body, and that the carbohydrates were digested by the gut bacteria to release the gases such as carbon dioxide. For the very beginning, again, I felt extremely embarrassing, and during the first few weeks, I was bloated AF, looking like a 10-month pregnant fat man, and I fought all the time. And especially in the gym during deadlifts and squats, I fought a lot. And when the people covered their nose, I also covered mine to hide from. But I sometimes admit it. Now I still have bloating, but the fart was a lot less stinky, and I was a lot less bloated than when I was in my beginning. Moving on to the second drawback, which is the fewer social occasions. Yes, although I said that I was an introverted person, but sometimes during my friend's birthday, I was not invited to my friend's birthday party, probably because of my dietary preferences as a vegetarian. For most of the time, I do feel okay day, but for sometimes I do feel left out. And for buffet and hot pots which count heads during checkout, I could barely join those. Some social occasions which didn't count any heads, I would join them and just sit down and bring my bottles of water and drink water, chat with them. I do enjoy those times actually. So after talking about the journey to my OMAD diet and also my plant-based diet, now's the time to talk about why I combine them both. First reason is that plant-based food are usually higher in fiber and carbs in general. Blood sugar level would fluctuate after consumption of these foods, and my energy level would fluctuate as well. I will feel sleepy when my blood sugar level goes down. If I eat breakfast or lunch, I will feel extremely sleepy after these times. So I prefer to eat only at dinner time so that I can sleep after a huge dip in blood sugar level after the consumption of such a high volume and high calorie meal, and I can actually have a better sleep. And the second reason is that for plant-based food choices, there aren't many choices outside. It was hard to find food to fill my hunger. Even in those restaurants who claim that they have plant-based alternatives, those usually contain MSG, which actually contain chicken powder. For me, those foods are not quite delicious, and the choices are mostly some tofu and vegetables. And besides, most vegan restaurants in Hong Kong are quite expensive, so I was actually kind of forced to eat at home. So after talking about combining my OMAD and plant-based diet together, I will talk about the fun experience during my high school period when I had my OMAD plant-based diet. My high school Chinese teacher used to saw me eating chicken, rice and vegetables during lunchtime all the time, and several weeks later I skipped lunch. My classmates also saw that I skipped lunch and did some mock papers and past papers during lunchtime. One Chinese lesson after lunchtime, my Chinese teacher asked, 喂 Michael， 你今日食咗咩啊？老師，佢乜都冇食啊。Gary, I hate you。 都唔得嘅喎，你係咪咩厭食症啊？咩走去學人減肥啊？你都唔算好肥咋嘛？我計夠卡路里應該冇咩問題啩？咁唔得嘅喎，你好快會病嘅喎，知唔知啊？你點解唔食嘢？唔得嘅喎，知唔知啊？得嘅啦，得嘅啦。我依家都有健身嘅，應該冇咩大問題嘅。是但你咯，總之小心啲啦嚇。小心啲嚇，小心啲。So that was the conversation during the lesson, but that was not over yet. 2 days later, during Chinese lesson, my Chinese teacher told me that she discussed my diet with her staffroom colleagues. She said that a friend of the other teacher only eat a bowl of soup and get super scrawny and skinny, like it was like anorexic or something. But then I responded to the teacher saying that I calculated enough calories to build up a caloric surplus, and then I would go to the gym regularly to build up some muscles. She became even more intrigued. Then later, after I bulked up for a few months, my face started to become chubby. My teacher noticed the increase in girth in my face and asked how I got my fat face even only eating 1 meal a day. And I told her that I ate at a caloric surplus, and some of the excess calories might turn into excess water weight or fat. And then the teacher wanted to listen no more, and I was like, so here's the final thoughts of the OMAD diet and whole food plant-based vegetarian diet. I might sometimes get bloated and get called by my brother and mother that I was fat, but the satisfaction you get knowing that you don't need to consume any animal products to get what you want would make you know that it's worth it. For now, maybe there would be some kind of nutrients that I might miss out on this kind of diet or even be deficient at them. And some of you might say that there are still some moral issues behind the plant-based diet. But my motto would always be listen to your body. So far, I don't crave for any kind of animal products for food anymore. Maybe I will change my mind in the very future. No one knows what would happen. So that sums up for today's video, and if you like today's video, please give a like, comment down below if you have any dietary preferences. Is vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, Mediterranean diet, keto diet, the Whole30s, or any kind of other diet. Please consider giving a subscribe to not miss out on any future content. What you want to see next? Comment down below. Until next time, peace.